Sidewinder with a diabolical League of Awesome. Stone sure picked some lousy times to ask for something, but he, in honor of our disaster month here, or near disaster month here, he wanted a list for me in the top 10 worst disaster movies of all time. I'm here in one of the hideouts of Dr. Box. Box kind of gave it away. So I gotta kind of hurry up before the death machines find me. So, round off our top 10 list here. We'll start off with number 10, 2009, 2012, which is kind of confusing. While definitely not a baddish story, the implausible physics adventures or misadventures done in the movie just make it more laughable. Plus, every disaster movie cliche over the last 50 years you can think of went into that movie. But not nearly as bad as number 9, Day After Tomorrow, in which basically a new ice age suddenly descends upon America and makes everyone have to go running south to Mexico, which I guess was an unusual change of events with that one, but definitely, again, very laughable. Number 8, Armageddon. Now, as much as I love most Bruce Willis movies, this one just falls under the it's Michael Bay. What can we say? He does the same fast cut, fast and loose type of filmmaking he did with Transformers when he did Armageddon. It might have been a better film under another hand, but unfortunately it has to fall under the hammer of some of the worst. Number 7, Absolute Zero. Not many people might be familiar with this one. This is one of those kind of direct-to-TV type productions there, low budget thing. Basically the concept was that the poles reversing themselves or changing positions would cause severe climatic changes, wherein basically Miami, Florida comes to absolute zero, which unto itself is a complete physical impossibility to happen naturally, but that doesn't stop the good filmmakers from, well, making us suffer through 90 minutes of that. And how did they survive? They found a special sheltered room that allowed them to survive in the middle of an absolute zero environment. Okay, moving on. Number 6, Terminator 3, The Rise of the Machines. End of the world at the hands of the robot overlords. We've been waiting 2 movies for it to happen. And how does it happen? One of the time-traveling Terminators comes back and basically causes the same disaster that was supposed to happen, and Skynet gains sentience because of a computer virus. If any computer people out there are getting headaches right now, that just means that you are sane. Number 5, Reign of Fire. Real-life dragons take over the world and basically reduce the population down to small pockets of humanity surviving. Really, it could have been an awesome premise. I was rooting for it when it first came out. I was looking forward to it. I mean, dragons, we could have had some of the best looking dragons since Dragon Slayer out there. Instead, the movie just kind of falls into kind of an odd Mad Max Dances with Wolves mix. And the dragons just kind of fell to the backside. You didn't get any cool fight scenes really with the dragons. Just kind of drug along. A disaster, end of the world movie that could have been awesome and again wasn't. Number 4, The Knowing with Nicolas Cage. Many of us are not exactly sure what that movie was supposed to be. It looked like it could have been good, but then this kind of predicting the end of the world and knowing it was coming and not able to stop it. And then the aliens coming, if the aliens hadn't showed up, it might have been passable. He might have lived with it. But the aliens showing up at the end, that was just, what? So that's why Knowing makes number 4. Number 3. Many of us have to admit to having fallen to watching this terribly atrocious movie, Battlefield Earth. And I'm sure many of us can remember John Travolta is an 8-foot tall alien race that managed to subjugate the Earth some 3,000 years ago, by his time. Now, humanity's just a bunch of primitive humans that barely understand or even acknowledge technology existed anymore. But somehow a small rebellion of humans manages to break out, and using millennia-old technology that somehow miraculously still works to somehow try to save the human race. Yes, it is literally as horrible as that sounds. To any nostalgia people who have not seen it, do not waste your time watching this movie again. Number 2, A Sound of Thunder. If you don't know this movie, that's probably a good thing. But I'll tell you about it anyway. The premise is that basically a time-traveling tour is done wherein people can travel back about 65 million years ago to witness the past. If they stay on this path that they're supposed to be staying on, they don't have to worry about anything. That's a safety feature. But apparently one person accidentally steps off the path, and guess what? Yes, they step on the butterfly. And that's where everything goes wrong. The movie gets points for being a different type of end of the world by basically destroying the world as we know it because of someone screwing up the past, and therefore causing the evolution of life as we know it to completely change as the movie progresses, and they have to somehow go back and fix this. From one butterfly dying, and the course of evolution was completely rewritten. Pyro, please tell me you're taking notes right now. So, on to number 1. The number 1 worst disaster movie ever made. Disaster movie. 2008's comedy spoof disaster movie. Was supposed to spoof disaster movies. Managed to really not accomplish that. So it's really bad when you can't even spoof what you're supposed to be spoofing correctly. So it barely touches upon the disaster movie genre into itself and just horribly replays scenes from many other movies and tries to make it into a joke. The only joke really is why would these guys ever give money to make movies? So therein lies our top 10 disaster movies, how the Earth never ended up actually going out, and thankfully, or unthankfully, we are still here. Till next time, this is Sidewinder signing off.